Jake paid $299 for a 7-day Caribbean cruise. The ship he is standing on cost $1.4 billion to build. It has 6,000 passengers aboard, 2,300 crew members, 11 restaurants, 4 swimming pools, a casino that never closes, a spa, a shopping mall on deck 5, an art gallery, a Broadway-style theater, and a water park on the top deck. And Jake is paying $299 for 7 days on it. And the company that owns this ship made $4.9 billion in profit last year. Jake looks around at all of it and thinks, this does not make sense. And he is right. Because the $299 is not the business model. Jake is the business model. And today I'm going to decode exactly how a $299 vacation generates $4.9 billion in annual profit. Because the economics of the cruise industry are one of the most brilliantly engineered business models in the history of global commerce. The ticket price deception. The first thing you need to understand about cruise economics is that the ticket price is almost entirely irrelevant to the cruise line's profit. The ticket covers the cost of the cabin, the basic buffet meals, and approximately enough fuel to move the ship from port to port. That is it. Everything else on the ship is designed as a separate revenue opportunity, and Jake is about to spend significantly more than $299 without quite realizing it is happening. The onboard spending machine. Jake has been on the ship for 4 hours. He has already spent $47 on a cocktail package upgrade, $22 on a specialty restaurant dinner reservation, $35 on a shore excursion deposit, and $18 on a Wi-Fi package because he needed to send one work email. That is $122 in 4 hours, on top of the $299 ticket, and Jake has 6 more days. The average cruise passenger spends between $150 and $200 per day on board. On top of their ticket price, which means a 7-day cruise that was advertised for $299, actually cost the average passenger between $1,300 and $1,700 by the time they disembark. The cruise line knows this. The cruise line designed every square foot of the ship around this. The casino. Jake walks past the casino on his way to dinner on night 2. He did not plan to stop, but there are no windows in the casino, no clocks, no natural light of any kind. And the sound design is calibrated to create a specific feeling of timeless excitement that is identical to the casinos in Las Vegas, because the same consultants designed both. Jake sits down at a blackjack table for what he tells himself will be 30 minutes, and looks up 90 minutes later, $140 later, and the casino never closes, not at 2 in the morning, not at 5 in the morning, because the ocean has no gaming commission, no closing time regulations, no last call. The cruise ship casino operates with the freedom of international waters and the expertise of land-based casino design, and it generates revenue per square foot that rivals the most profitable casinos on earth. The port economics. Here's the part of cruise economics that almost nobody outside the industry knows. Cruise lines do not just stop at ports. In many cases, they own the ports, or have exclusive agreements with the port authorities. They give them commission on every shore excursion booked through the ship. When Jake books the catamaran snorkeling trip through the ship's excursion desk, the cruise line takes 30 to 40% commission on that booking, and the local tour operator who actually runs the catamaran accepted that commission rate. Because the alternative is no passengers at all, the cruise line has positioned itself between the passenger and every economic opportunity at every port of call, and extracted a margin from every transaction in between. The flag of convenience. Here is where cruise economics become genuinely extraordinary and genuinely controversial. Carnival Cruise Lines is an American company, headquartered in Miami, traded on the New York Stock Exchange, and pays almost zero American corporate income tax because its ships are registered not in the United States, but in Panama, the Bahamas, and Liberia, under what the shipping industry calls flags of convenience. The flags of convenience give cruise lines 3 advantages that are worth billions of dollars annually. First, they pay the corporate tax rate of their flag nation, which is dramatically lower than American corporate tax rates. Second, they can hire crew members from developing nations at wages that would be illegal under American labor law. The average crew member on a major cruise ship earns between $600 and $1,200 per month for work weeks that frequently exceed 70 hours. Third, they are not subject to American environmental regulations in international waters, which allows them to manage waste and emissions in ways that would be legally prohibited if they operated as American companies. The ship itself as a financial instrument. A $1.4 billion cruise ship is not purchased with $1.4 billion in cash. It is financed, typically over 20 to 30 years, using a combination of bank debt and export credit agency financing from the European countries where the ships are built. And that financing is secured against the future ticket revenue that the ship will generate, which means the cruise line is essentially borrowing against future passenger spending to build a machine that extracts that spending. Before the machine is fully paid for, the ship starts generating revenue on its first voyage, while 30 years of payments remain outstanding. And the revenue it generates, from tickets and casinos and specialty restaurants and shore excursion commissions and spa treatments and Wi-Fi packages and art auctions, comfortably exceeds the financing cost in almost every scenario except a global pandemic. The fleet economics. Here is why the cruise industry is one of the most defensible businesses in existence. The barriers to entry are essentially insurmountable for new competitors. A single modern cruise ship costs between $1 and $2 billion to build, and takes approximately 3 years to construct at one of the handful of shipyards in the world capable of building them. To compete meaningfully with Carnival or Royal Caribbean or Norwegian, a new entrant would need dozens of ships, tens of billions of dollars in capital, and a brand that can compete with companies that have been building passenger trust for decades, which means the existing players operate in what is effectively a protected oligopoly. 3 companies control approximately 80% of the global cruise market, and that concentration of market power allows them to maintain pricing power, resist competition, and extract the maximum possible revenue from every passenger who steps onto every ship. Here's what the $299 ticket actually is. It is not a vacation price. It is a customer acquisition cost. The cruise line is paying $299 to get Jake onto the ship, where the real business begins. The casino is waiting, the specialty restaurants are reserved, the shore excursion desk is staffed, the spa is booked, and Jake has 6 more days of thinking he is on a vacation, while actually being inside one of the most precisely engineered revenue extraction machines ever built, that happens to have a water park on the roof. You have been decoded. If this video made you think about your next cruise vacation completely differently, subscribe to Money Decoder 3004. Every single week, we decode the economics of the familiar systems and experiences that most Americans never fully understand. Simply, honestly, and clearly. Drop a comment below. Have you ever been on a cruise, and now that you know the economics, would you go again? Tell me below. I read every single comment, and I will see you in the next decode.